So conversational commerce, is it going to make us all rich and powerful beyond our wildest dreams? Very possibly. So I want to, there's a few faces I do know, a few I don't know. 2 minutes on me. So I've spent my whole career in technology. I started my first website in 1999, set up a software business in 2005, grew that from me and a friend up to a 45-man team and built about 350 digital products across web, mobile and kind of social applications. And then I got into conversation in about 2015. Building a proof of concept. I was working for an enterprise travel software business, and we built a proof of concept to prove that you could book an airline ticket using Amazon's Alexa. But before we go down the road of conversational commerce, I want to take a step back and rewind to 2012. So in 2012 was a wonderful year. The Olympics were in London. And I was on stage, much like this, giving a talk about what I called emerging commerce. And I was trying to rally the troops, getting people very excited. I knew that mobile payments and mobile commerce would come. I knew it was very, very close. And I was trying to get people behind that movement. In 2012, let's talk a little bit about contactless, about mobile boarding cards for airplanes, and Apple Pay. None of these existed in 2012. I was very excited about the possibilities that, that mobile technologies would be able to bring to us. So I was telling people, I was saying, right, you're all very early adopters. Have you made a purchase using your mobile today? I'm going to throw the same question back out. Has anyone made a purchase today using any kind of chatbot? Today. Interesting. This is good. The thought here is that next year will be the norm. This is what I was saying about mobile. This is exactly where I think we are with conversational commerce today. So you can either choose to be a part of this or watch it happen. So fast forward back to today, and I'm going to run through a few examples of conversational commerce. And the way that I like to frame this is the relevance of conversation and what it has in the buying journey. So I'm going to talk about what these things are, why they were made, and the benefits they have for the brands. So we'll start off with Marriott. And so this was a conversational concierge we put into Marriott hotels. And this allowed you to go into your room, talk to Alexa, ask for a gin and tonic, ask for you to have new bed sheets or new dressing gowns sent up to your bedroom. It also incorporated a Facebook Messenger bot so you could communicate with the hotel outside while you were during your stay. Why they did this? So they did this because they were worried about being disintermediated in the market, so people going to hotels and no longer engaging with the brand. They were worried that they were becoming outmoded and weren't appealing to a younger generation, so they wanted to make themselves more relevant to millennial travellers. And they also wanted to find other ways to get some kind of incremental revenue, so kind of selling or getting some kind of cut of taxis or tours during the guests' stay. Now the kind of benefits they got from this is all funded through the marketing team at Marriott in 2016. They managed to get a huge amount of press, a huge amount of relatively cheap PR and social media coverage. It was an incredibly well-performing campaign for them in the end, but then they did manage to prove out the concept and later hook up with Amazon to create Alexa Hospitality, destroying my Dazzle business model. Secondly, we then moved into Rail. So looking at Dazzle Rail, or a complete kind of conversational platform for the rail industry. So this again was a multi-channel conversational platform so that you could be at home, speak to Alexa, ask about where your train was, whether it was going to be on time, integrating with your local parking at the station, see whether there's going to be a car parking spot whilst you get there, and then helping you work out how to get onto the Wi-Fi when you're on your train, and then when you get to your destination, offering you the ability to get last mile, so taxis or discounts and coffees at the last mile. You'll see those with keen eyes that we use the same actors. So this the kind of the benefits that the rail companies got from this is that they increase their customer experience. Rail franchises in the UK are awarded. One of the criteria is improving customer experience. Secondly, they are very, very low margin businesses, so trying to find extra ways to get some incremental revenue off first and last mile, and being with the customer throughout the entire customer journey are other ways that the idea of conversational commerce kind of brings in here, and then lastly, being able to understand a lot more about the customer. Thirdly, this is right at kind of the top of the customer journey, the transaction journey is about conversational advertising. People like O2 are using conversational ad or conversational kind of chatbot advertising to help you understand a little bit more about what pricing plans you should choose, running you through a configurator, and then pushing you out towards the right kind of package. So that's the kind of user journey. Why this is happening is because you get a far better conversion rate using this kind of mechanic, as opposed to throwing people from paid search or social advertising through to a particular landing page. Specifically because the minute you engage using Messenger, you're opening up a one-to-one communication channel, and if on a landing page someone goes to the landing page and does not perform the action that you want them to perform, they disappear and you never see them again. If they start to engage with a chatbot and they don't do the action that you want them to do, you can then go back to them the next day, the next week, re-engage them, and so the kind of campaign ratios go way up, and that's a good way to start do lead generation. This also works in smaller businesses in terms of lead generation campaigns. And the fourth and final conversational commerce example here is Talisker tasting. So this is all about value-added resale. So what this was, or what this is, that's getting better every day, is a tasting experience. So very much like when you go to the Isle of Skye and you go to the distillery and you speak to the chief distiller and they take you on a tour and tell you how to taste the whiskey. This is an Alexa skill which replicates that exact experience, and by using a soft and dulcet Scottish voice to guide you through the entire experience. Now, the rationale behind why this wants to be done is that there is a hypothesis that's proving out that if you put this kind of sticker on a bottle, which says that if you buy this bottle of whiskey, it comes with a tasting experience powered by Alexa, then you've got a higher propensity to buy that box of whiskey on the shelf. And that's and the incremental cost of creating a skill versus shipping millions of pounds worth of whiskey is very much worth that investment. So that the benefits are clear, and differentiation of the particular brand. So a few closing thoughts. I've been ordered to keep the timing tight, and I think I'm doing okay. So this is the year. I'm very excited. This is all about timing, right? So is this the time that we should start getting into looking at this very hard? So 2019 is the year, the real tipping point where more than half of the population of planet Earth will be using messenger applications. And so this is really going to show that the environment for us to develop against this is now. We also see that the rate of growth of assistants is growing faster than smartphones did 7 years ago. So if you look at the green line is where assistants have been growing from 2014 to 2018 as they're really coming of age. And the blue line is kind of is smartphone growth between 2007 and 2011 as that was becoming mainstream. And I'm trying to compare that again with kind of internet adoption in 97 to 2001. So we can see this is growing faster. Us as a species are getting better at putting these in people's hands. Now let's look at ourselves. So who are we, right? So I see the way this is going to grow like a big triangle, right? And so we've got the number of conversational practitioners like us on the x-axis, and very much at the top is now, at the bottom is the future. And we are here. Here. Something's stuck. I'm sorry. There's a big red circle at the top. It's why this is broken. So right at the top, we are here. That's not right. Over the next several years, there's going to be more and more people coming into this space, doing what we're trying to do, and building out and taking advantage of the huge opportunity that we've got ahead of us right now. Hey, that's where we are. And the only way that we're going to take advantage of this massive opportunity is if we partner and work together. So we are right at the beginning of this. The opportunity is massive. The collaboration is very much the future. I think it's dovetailed really nicely into what you're just about to hear from Green Shoot Labs. I think we should all become very good friends. Thank you very much.
Arnie. Thank you so much. Just before we get on to questions, can you please raise your hands if it's your first time here? Very interesting, very interesting. Thank you so much. Any questions?
About a year ago, there were, I don't know, like about 18,000 Alexa skills or something, and now there's double that, easy. So, do you think Amazon are going to continue the leadership of the chatbot industry, if you like, or do you think there are other contenders in the market?
There's massive contenders. I think I'm really interested to see how Apple played this game. So 2006, I was running a business, and we were really sure that mobile phone apps were the future. And we knew that we could build brilliant Java apps, and we could get them. There was a slight distribution problem. It was a bit hard to get them out to the world. We had to use things like GetJar or Handango to get these apps into the market, and people didn't really know how to do that or whether they were there. And what happened is Apple waited a couple of years, saw how things were going to play out, and then made their play and swept up with an amazing user experience. Now, there's a lot of people that don't think that Apple have a grasp on voice or this world of bots yet, but I wouldn't discredit where they are. You've also got Samsung, who have said that very publicly that by 2020 every single device that they ship will be voice enabled, and I think there are some scary stats which show you exactly how many kind of devices Samsung ship every year. And this is a very early time. Amazon definitely have the run on things right now, but being first mover or the best early mover in these other markets doesn't necessarily make you the winner. It's slightly different. It's not comparable, but if you think in 2006 about Nokia, they were 100% the clear winner, and they're now very much dead.
If I can add to that question, so obviously Amazon were the first on the market. Alexa is incredibly powerful. It's great for voice recognition. But if you look at Google Home, they've caught up on the market share quite drastically actually. So they were non-existent 2 years ago. I think they have almost about half the market share now compared to half of what Amazon has on the market share, and then they pretty much hog the whole market share to those two companies. So in very short amount of time they've caught up. So we don't know where it's going basically.
Yeah, go.
So in your little pyramid diagram, so should we be working closer together and sharing useful information about things like context, which is hard to do with any kind of natural language, so that we can be the Googles and Amazons of the world? Yeah,
I'd say it's going to be hard. It depends what kind of organisation you're working with. But I work in collaboration with a whole number of kind of small, fast-moving, disruptive businesses, and I think those are the businesses which together can harness the kind of tools we're getting from the giants. So the kind of tools we're getting from Google, Alexa, Google, Amazon, Watson, using those in the right way. There's a huge amount that we can do, and I firmly believe that openness and sharing is the way that we're going to find the right kind of partnerships to move faster.
Do you foresee any other customer interactions with brands other than voice or chatbots?
Yeah, do I know what they're going to be, or do I think they're coming? They're definitely coming. So it is all about different channels that will come. So this whole idea about emerging commerce that I started talking about in 2011-12. The basics of that is that the way that humans have transacted has always changed and will always continue to change, right? So it started off with bartering, and then the shekel, and then the credit card, and Apple Pay, and our conversation. And this is all going to change. And so as long as you can kind of build an understanding about the different channels and the different ways that people can communicate, and still keep an eye on all of those and work out how that mix is going to change over time, you need to stay one step ahead to take advantage of how the shift of those different channels, how you can then take advantage of that opportunity.
And do you think extended reality has a part to play in that as well, in these new channels?
I was selling augmented reality apps in 2009 to Peugeot, and it was great. I was really excited about it then. I'm still really excited about it now. I just don't have to make money for it.
Just to comment on that, I don't know if anyone's seen the video on YouTube, A Day in Glass by Corning. And it's pretty much the idea that you can use glass and technology to change the way we interact with our everyday life. You wake up and your bathroom mirror has the weather and your calendar on it, and any phone calls that may come in, and, right? And then you go to your refrigerator and there is a list of food you're missing or that you've run out of. And I think it's that can be easily applied to retail or conversions. But we just don't have, pretty much we have this reliance on the phone in our hand. And as that starts to shift into other things and everything becomes connected in our lives, maybe it's our watches become more, maybe it's everything, so anything with glass, which is Corning's methodology. And as those things start to connect with each other, then perhaps that will be how the retail changes.
Yeah, well, there's this wonderful concept about kind of digital air a few years ago that, that you would walk around with your own kind of musk, and then everything else you interacted with, that would become, you would become cognizant of the fact that you were there, and you'd be then able to kind of use the different screens or interfaces that surround you. So I think it's the art of the possible. The technology is possible, but just trying to find the kind of commercial imperatives to make this happen is the challenge, or what we should work on together.
Thank you so much.